Well, hey, and welcome to this week's edition of the Billionaire Podcast. We are here. We are live. We are here with Joe Quero. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Very, very fine. You know, apprentice billionaires all across the world tune into us to find out what are people doing to make money and how are these young people making a bunch of money. You're the owner and CEO of Absolute Duct and Chimney. Real sexy type of business there, Joe.
What type of business I have?
It's not sexy at all, is it? It's like duct and chimney cleaner. Business
Yeah.
doesn't need to be like this fancy, sexy thing to make a lot of money.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Tell us what got you into business, Joe, and you know, because it's been a few years now. What got you into your own business?
Um, well, basically, I learned a skill from another gentleman that owned the same duct and chimney type of cleaning business. What got me launched into this business was just the cap that I was making, that I couldn't pass that income ceiling working for somebody. Although I was making commission and a good salary, I worked for somebody, and so he got rich off of my work, which is fine. But I wanted more. I wanted, freedom for my family. I wanted, the chance to make as much income as I wanted to provide that legacy for my family and my kids. So it was more of a drive of just wanting more.
Yeah. Now,
That's
how
just
old
kind
were
of
you?
what
How
launched
old
me
were
there.
you when you decided to? This is it. I'm going into business myself. What age?
25.
25. Most of your friends, you're 25, jumping into business for yourself. Most of your friends think you're crazy, think that you're brave. What are their thoughts?
Um, yeah, it was a little bit of both. A lot of people thought I was crazy because I had a great paying job already. I was making $90,000 a year working with this guy. A lot of them didn't even know. I mean, they're like, whatever. I mean, 25-year-olds around when I was 25-year-old, they didn't even have a job. They were just still playing Game Boy. They're still playing, video games, things like that. So those are the friends that I quickly kind of got rid of and had to like change my sphere of influence because,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just, it was toxic.
It's kind of crazy though that young people want to go into business themselves and they let other people talk them out of it. I think that
Oh yeah.
for you, you're an example of go and you put it best there before. You said you go learn a skill working for someone else, and then you decide how do I turn that into a business. But it was
Right.
interesting because it's easy to fall into the self-employment trap though. So tell me, how did you get past that?
Um, you're absolutely right about the self-employment trap because that's what I was used to when I was working a job. I was just used to doing the same thing. In order to get out of the self-employment trap, you really have to know why you're in business for yourself. And for me, was I want to travel. I want to have unlimited streams of income so I can travel the world with my family. But if I'm tied down to having to work the job to make the money, and then when I travel I don't make money, then you sit in this trap saying I can't have time off because I still need to work to make money. So getting out of that was, number one, knowing why I was in business for myself, then seeking help to be able to get guidance on creating a business other than a self-employment job.
Yeah, I think a lot of young people, buddy, they look to self-employment and see it as a great thing. And then at some point, you're making reasonably good money, you're doing okay, and you get to that point of just hang on a second. I can't leave. I'm done. If I leave, we
Yeah.
don't make a dollar tomorrow. I'm done. What am I going to do?
Right.
Tell
Right.
me what had to change? What had to shift for you to get from being self-employed to then becoming a business owner? Because nowadays you got all the technicians doing the work, you're running the
Mhm.
business, you work less hours, making much more money. What had to
Right.
shift?
Uh, my mentality, and I would have to say my pride.
Hang on, your
I'm
pride?
what
What
you
do you
call
mean? What do you mean your pride had to shift?
my pride had to shift. I'm talking about the negative type of pride. As far as what I thought I knew everything. I went into business. Now I'm making $130,000 a year, and it's just me in my truck and my wife answering phone calls. And then I just kind of got to, I think I got this. I think I got this. So my mentality just really had to change. And I was sharing a story about how I was walking with my wife hand in hand down the street after a long day's worth of work and said, "Wow, we're making a lot of money just doing it by ourselves. I like this. I think I can stay this way." And I just got this sick gut feeling the minute I said that word. Like, wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I said I wanted, and that's not what I promised my wife and kids. You know. And so
It's
when
like
you're
it's like,
playing
hang
with
on, am I gonna
the
settle? Am I gonna settle for this?
Oh yeah, exactly. It was a settlement. It was a sickness knowing that I just said the words I'm going to settle. And I'm a competitor. I played sports. You know what I mean? I was in law enforcement, top of the class in my academy, and I'm a competitor. And so when I said that, it was just against every single moral code I had in my body, and I just felt sick. Just when I said I was going to settle. Yeah.
Look, if we look at your year-on-year growth, 60+% year-on-year growth,
Mm.
knowledge had to be a part of that. But I think also, you got coaching, you wanted to get more knowledge, you decided not to settle, you decided to become a business owner rather than self-employed. How
Correct.
much did you have to, change the way you approach things to be, okay, I'm no longer the guy in the ducts. I'm no longer the guy out there on the man in the van doing the work. I got to
Right.
shift my thinking. Was it tough? Was it
Right.
easy? What was the biggest changes?
Well, in the beginning, it was very, very tough. I never read books. I never read books that helped me to change my mental way of thinking. So, having to actually carve out time to read was huge for me. That's something I had to change because all the great leaders, all the great millionaires out there said that reading is part of their daily activities. Um, Starting to do affirmations every single day about what I want to see in existence in the future. I have to start speaking it into existence is what I tell my kids. A lot had to change. I had to learn how to become uncomfortable, do things that I wasn't willing to do, but do it because I know it's going to bring the change. The stuff that you don't see immediately as far as change, but it's going to bring you growth in the future. So it was uncomfortable, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah. Now, one of the things you changed, and now you've become a genius at this stuff, is getting jobs. Like your marketing stuff had to shift. And I want to spend a bit of
Oh yeah.
time on this because there's a lot of lessons you can teach people about Google, about Yelp, and getting reviews and running ads and all that sort of stuff. Where did that start? Like, what was the starting point of that shift?
The starting point of the shift when it came to Google was, as we started hiring, we were pushed by our coach to hire our first person. And then the idea was insane to me because it's like, well, there's only enough work for me. How am I going to get more work to get an extra person? But I know I need this growth. So the answer is in marketing and how you market yourself. So we have to clean up how our Yelp page looks, our Google page looks, put more pictures on there. Ask our customers for reviews because the more 5-star reviews you have, organically they start to show your stuff.
Yeah.
And
Tell
then
me
start
about the
paying
pictures.
for ads. Go ahead.
Let's get into some details here. What sort of pictures worked best for you? What were the things that got you the best results picture wise?
It was a couple of things. Definitely the before and after pictures of jobs that we did were,
Mm-hmm.
were, were fantastic. But we advertise ourselves as a family-owned business, so even personal pictures. Obviously you don't want to put too personal pictures, but pictures of me and my wife and my kids and even our team because we call them our family and things like that. So just pictures of just activity on day office activity. You're taking pictures out in the field with your technicians, things like that, and we get a lot of good results, good feedback from customers that look at our pictures and say, hey, you know what? Even though you're a little more expensive than another competitor that had good 5-star reviews, I like the fact that you get personal pictures on there. It makes me feel like I can trust you. And so we
Very
started
nice.
adding more to that. Yeah.
Very nice. Now, getting people to give you reviews, asking customers to give you reviews, not as great in the beginning, but now you do it amazingly. What are the keys to getting customers to give you their 5-star reviews?
Well, obviously training our technicians to, at the end of every work, we say, hey, did we exceed your expectation of excellence today? Because our motto is to serve with excellence. If they say yes, then we say, hey, the biggest compliment you can give us is a 5-star review on Yelp or on Google. And then we have an application that follows up with an email and a text a day or two later asking for that review. So it's constantly reminding them that, hey, we need this review if you were happy with us, because a lot of people don't do it right away. So if you have something ongoing that will remind them and that won't take up hours of people having to call and go back and asking, like an application, that's really helped us. We went from maybe 20 reviews on Google and Yelp to well over 100 now, and that happened within the last year or so when we made those changes.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing how you can automate and systematize asking for those reviews, and I think it's a very important aspect of it. So, what else did you have
Right.
to shift on your Yelp page and on your Google to make sure that, because a lot of people don't even realize their business has a Google page, which is kind of crazy. A lot of people don't even realize their business has Google ratings. What else did you have to change on there? Not just pictures and stuff, and not just asking for ratings, to really get your numbers up and lead flow?
Oh, like you said, instead of just settling for all the organic leads that you get, which is very minimal, start paying for some more leads.
Mm-hmm.
We have a generous budget now towards Google ad leads and Yelp leads, and even on Facebook and Instagram now. It's all the stuff that people are on. So if you just settle for the organic stuff, yeah, you'll get some work, but you're setting yourself up for failure, because if you want growth, then you're going to have to start paying for leads as well. That's all part of marketing. So just being comfortable knowing that, put together a system that gives yourself a good marketing budget for the size of company that you are, and then start paying for the leads. And then as you grow, you're going to have to obviously increase that budget.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's an important lesson to learn. How much are you spending per customer at this point? What's your cost per lead or cost per sale that you're running at this point?
It averages out about $15 per lead.
Mm-hmm.
We're very generous. We don't have as much competition as, say, a plumber or an HVAC technician out here. Their price per lead typically around 25 to 30. So $15 is very good for us as far as per lead.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, that way every job is profitable from day one. I mean, the first you get a brand new customer, and your lifetime value of customer is strong too.
Absolutely. We learn to retain our customers on an annual basis. It's just the right questions. You train your technicians to ask the right questions once the job is done, and you can get ongoing customers annually.
Yeah, I want to get back to that training the technicians thing, but just staying with Google and Yelp. Now you said you've moved over to Insta, you're looking at other things, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. What does it take for you to learn each one? Did it take like a period of months? Is it weeks? What was it? Did you hire people? How was your best result for that?
Well, the best results, number one, is to get somebody in our office that's young enough that understands it all. Because
Buddy, you're not that old. Trust me, this old guy's going, what? You're asking for young people? Come on.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I can't, I understand it, but some of them really, really understand it, and it's typically these even younger people than I am that understand these things, but they're go-getters. My coach, Coach Carey, she also coaches a marketing person, somebody that has a marketing business, and they have with a cool feature in their business where they come and they coach somebody in your company to learn the Facebook and the Instas and how to advertise and how to really utilize that for your business. And so we hired her to coach the girls in our office to do that, and it's just been it's launched us on Facebook and Instagram, even further than we could do it trying to figure out on our own.
I think that's an important thing, though. A lot of people, they're not willing to invest in getting knowledge, and it's kind of crazy in my books. It's like, hang on, you're going to do this with trial and error? Why?
Right.
So good to see.
With trial and error?
Yeah, good to see that investment is paying off, though. I think that, as we move through, and Yelp, Google, ratings, all that sort of stuff is vital for business today, and I'm glad that you guys have mastered that, and that's what brings you in the lead flow. When you add a new employee now, do you just up the marketing budget to be able to fill up their van and keep them in business? What's the way you work that?
Can you repeat that? You cut out.
Oh,
for
sorry.
a second.
I'm just saying, when you add a new person into the business, a new technician, do you just increase the budget so you can add more leads and therefore more sales to keep them busy? What's the system for that?
When we add somebody in, we first of all have to understand how much each van costs and how much money it comes in once it's maximized. Then we know that we have a 90-day training period and how much that's going to cost us out of pocket. And so we put those budgets together, and based off of that, after we hire somebody, we increase our marketing budget. But we can't do it too fast because he has to be trained. Sometimes the training doesn't even work out. You have to go to the next person. So we have a system to where we know how much another van will cost, how much it's going to bring in once after a year of training and getting somebody going, and how much it's going to cost us out of pocket to train. And based off of that, we put together a marketing budget.
And I think that's really important, Joe. And people want to grow their business, and then they're like, well, yeah, we need to grow. We're going to add more. Well, you've got to grow the marketing with the growth of the business. Otherwise, you can't feed those guys in the trucks. I mean, you got to feed them. You got to give them new business every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've seen companies where they do one or the other too much. Like for example, there was a company that I know that they just started pouring too much into marketing before they had a guy, and it hurt them because they had to turn away jobs. They started messing up jobs. There was too much pressure. So I think there needs to be a good balance together as you grow with that.
Very nice, very nice. Now, training your technicians now, as you just said, you got a 90-day thing to get them up and running and all this stuff. I want to take you back a few years when you first started in business, Joe, doing this yourself. You learn the skill, you turned into self-employed. Was this in your mind back then? Did you ever see this being the reality?
No, no, it didn't. Like I said, when I first started, I thought it was just going to be me,
Yeah.
But like I said, the training really helped because it just taught me the importance of systemizing the business. And as when I got with Coach Quero, we're about to hire our first person. She's like, before you hire, write a training manual. Write the step-by-step processes of everything, and then how long will it take for them to kind of get from A to B, and then from B to C and C to D, all the way to Z. So, just creating small systems and doing things little by little, and that definitely the 90-day plan, getting on the 90-day plan that we do with her is just, that has gotten us to now we're so comfortable doing it that, we wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah, I think that learning, there's a process of learning to be a business owner. And this is the
Yeah.
craziness of it all. I love all of the other teachers out there on the internet, Gary V's and all of these guys, Ty Lopez, they're all great. However, there's a learning process of being a business owner. It's not just, yeah, rah, rah, you can do it, that stuff. You've got to learn that process of becoming a great business owner. How far into that process are you now, and how far do you think you've got to go?
Well, I've learned to be a great business owner to the level that I'm at right now, but I still have a lot more that I want to do.
Mm.
The dream of this business is, to build a strong system to grow a name brand that we have here in San Diego and franchise it out.
Yeah.
I love watching young people start a business. I don't care what it is. I'm always an advocate of going to people and saying, hey, you have a skill. Why are you sitting on your butt? Sell it. You'll make money. At least start there. And so I want to franchise that. My dream is to franchise this and so that way I can get, sell it to young, motivated kids and then teach them the system and teach them how to become a great business owner.
Yeah.
So the level of greatness that I want to be as far as a business owner is somebody that basically mentors and trains other young people to be business owners. That's what I want to get at.
I love it, buddy. You got to keep it going. The more employers we create, the easier the world becomes. We got to stop getting everyone leaving school to become an employee and start teaching them to get out there and get your own business. So now let's go back to training, because you love training now, and your technicians are the people you spend a lot of time training. I want to focus in on one part of it, though, not the job of their job, but the part where you teach them how to upsell and look for more opportunity when they're out at a customer's job site. Tell me more about that and give us the lessons. What's the most important things there that everyone should learn and put into practice in their business?
Absolutely. So basically, we have a business where we offer multiple side services based off of what we do. So if we do a chimney cleaning, for example, and we're at a chimney and there's, little damages here and there, cracks in the firebox, cracks in the bricks and joints, a damaged crown, things like that. Well, yeah, we can do what's enough and just clean the chimney and say, hey, you have these issues, go get it fixed by somebody. But, our technicians now learn that, whenever they go into a job and they introduce themselves and they're there for a service, in the home, there's about 2 or 3 other things that they can do to upsell and provide some type of more quality to their service. So we train our technicians just to kind of go in there and as they introduce themselves politely and professionally and things like that, to keep their eye out for other things. For example, bathroom exhaust. We can clean those bathroom exhausts. We can clean dryer vents. We can clean air ducts. So just because we're there for one service, we have to let them know that we do all these other things as well, and that we could provide a discount if we do it on the same day. And we have a very good system of doing that to where, our technicians are upselling almost every day, if not every other day.
See, that to me is where, I don't know why, but a lot of people leave money on the table. They go and do a job with a customer, or they go and make a sale of one item, and they don't ask for the second, third, fourth sale. And I think that that's an important part. Do you think that's a real big part of why you've had the year-on-year growth that you've had?
I believe it is. One of the biggest years that we had was last year. We actually closed out the biggest we've ever been. And that last year was pretty much the time we started pushing a lot of the training on upselling.
Huh.
And we call it upsell with integrity because obviously if they don't need it, we don't need to mention it. But if we don't mention it, then we're providing them a disservice and not being somebody with integrity if we don't offer it. So, we change, we're helping not just training them what to say, but also helping the technicians to change their own mentality so that they can be confident in offering our extra services.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that fact. I love that, you're building these young people to be successful, not just for your business,
Yes.
but to be successful in life. They're learning key skills. They're doing all that sort of stuff. Tell me, in all the time, Joe, of building your business, you've gone on, you've been an example for this for young people. Obviously, other young people are watching your success and watching what you're doing. How do they relate to that? Are they jealous of it? Are they excited by it? What's sort of your reaction when other young people see you as a successful businessman now?
Actually, I see it very positively. I get a lot of like, wow, doing that, you're only 30 years old and you're where you're at right now. And it's an exciting thing to know that they're excited. And then I can kind of like think into it, like, okay, you're a motivated young person. You're probably saying that because you're interested in how this can happen for you.
Mm.
And so it turns into a talking point. Because like I said, I find every opportunity I can find, especially with young kids coming out of college right now that are broken with no job, to say, hey, you know what I mean? This can happen for you.
Yeah.
There's a mentality out there that that people think that they can't be what they want to be, that they have to go to college to become successful, and then they're hit with the reality that it's just not true for most people. So it allows me to go. I mean, it's very positive. I can talk to them about doing what it is because I grew up really poor. I'm one of those guys who are like, oh yeah, he grew up poor, so he's probably going to be poor. I'm part of that statistic, but I was able to rise above that.
Yeah, it's only a
And it was
statistic for those who want it to be, Joe. It's only a statistic if they say, look, I don't have. It's like you can use stuff as an excuse or a motivation. You choose, and
absolutely.
I'm glad you chose the motivation side of it rather than that. Think about this, Joe. You're sitting there with someone who's like wants to be the apprentice billionaire. They're the same, they back when you were in your early 20s, you're doing you're at not college, at the academy, you're doing your training, you're doing all that sort of stuff. What do you think's the difference? How you took action, obviously, but young person sitting there today needs to understand that yes, you can do this too. How do we get them to really believe that?
Well, number one, how do we get them to really believe that? Sometimes their own figures that they look up to, like the billionaires of today, the multimillionaires today, actually started off with nothing. So just starting to help them to realize those things, like the Bill Gates of the world, the Warren Buffetts, the people like that, people that they know about because they hear about all the time. But just I think just in encouraging them and talking to them in a way where we can help to shift, to train them to shift their mentality. Obviously, it has to come down to them choosing to do it, and we won't be able to help everybody because they have to have an equal level of receptiveness and acceptance to it. But what I do is I just love to tell everybody the opposite of what society is telling them. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Society's telling you this way. You're probably better off going the opposite direction.
Yeah. Look,
So
it's crazy, Joe, though, because you're on the other side of the fence now. You've built a business that's worth millions. You're on track. You're a definite apprentice billionaire, moving in that direction, ready to build a national company. And 30 years of age, started at 25, took the risk, took the steps, and it's easy for you and me, and the average person is going, yeah, see, it's easy for you guys. You guys already got there. But I had to do it. You had to do it. We all had to take that first step to make our own success. And I think I got to applaud you, buddy, because I want to congratulate you on kicking butt out there, doing great things, building a strong family, a strong business. When and you see this as much as I do. People go, oh, millennials can't do much. They're lazy. This generation is that. Bullshit. Oh, sorry. But, my generation, they said the same about my generation growing up. I'm a kid in the 80s. All we want to do is get long hair and listen to music from rockers and stuff. I think anyone can achieve whatever they want to achieve. And you're an amazing example of that. And I got to give you props for it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolute Duct and Chimney. We're going to see it as a national brand soon. kicking butt in San Diego, going national, nationwide, maybe even worldwide, Joe. Let's throw that one in there. Maybe it's a worldwide thing at some point. Congrats.
Hey, man,
love
it's
it.
all possible, right?
It is all possible. The thing is, though, you got to do the learning, and that's for a lot of people. That, well, I don't want to read the books. As you said at the beginning, you had to learn to read. You know, I love the fact that today I don't even have to do that. I jump on Audible, hit it at 1.5 times speed, and listen to the dang book in much faster than I could read it. But these podcasts as well. This is the thing. You got so many podcasts out there in the world right now where you can learn what you need to learn. So, Joe Quero, you rock, buddy. Thanks for being on an Apprentice Billionaire. Thanks for being on my podcast.
Thank you. I'll see you in February.
Perfect.